Boom, ba-da-dum. Howdy y'all, Banjo Ben here. Today we're going to learn an Alan Munde melodic version to the classic fiddle tune standard, Bill Cheatham. I actually taught this one many years ago. Learned to play it way long ago and then taught it, I think around 12 years ago in 2012. It was back in the day when I was teaching in my living room of townhome that we were renting and had an old iMac and didn't have tabs to put on the screen, only one camera. And so many times over the course of the years, people have requested that I modernize this song and bring the new technology in, put a little bit more detail into the instructions. So that's what we're going to do with Bill Cheatham here today and honor the great Alan Munde, who came up with this arrangement and plays it so very well. If you're watching somewhere else besides the website at banjobenclark.com, you can visit there. And as a Gold Pit member, you can download the tabs to this song just like I played it. I also have several different speeds of jam track MP3s that you can practice along with, as well as many hundreds more lessons for banjo, guitar, mandolin. So I'd be honored to have you on board over there if you're not there already. If you are, thank you. So first thing we're going to do is do a little overview of the tune. I want to talk about what this fiddle tune has for us. And then we're going to, of course, go measure by measure, talk about what we're playing. Specifically, I want to dial into these melodic positions because there's a few little strategy tips that you're going to need to know to make playing this song more possible, at least playing it well and smooth. And then, of course, at the end, we'll play it all the way through slowly together so that you can make sure and get it. Let's start. Let's do a quick overview of the fiddle tune, see what makes Bill Cheatham tick, and then we'll get into the actual instruction of how to play it. First thing we're going to notice is that it's in the key of A, but we're going to capo up 2 on the banjo. Okay, so we're playing out of a G position, but since we're capoed up to the 2nd fret, it comes out of the banjo in the key of A. But because we're dealing with chords out of the position of G, you'll notice that whenever I put the chord changes in the song, I'm using the chords in the key of G. So these are not the same chords that a mandolin player or a fiddle player would play. But if you're playing with a guitar player and they're capoed up too, these are the same chords there. So if you wanted the chords in A, you would just move them all up 2 frets or a whole step. Now, most fiddle tunes have what we call an A part and a B part. Some have more than that, but most of them just have an A and B part. And they're usually 8 measures long, and then they'll repeat. And Bill Cheatham's no different. So we're going to start out here with an A part. It's going to go 4 measures and then another 4 measures. Okay? Then we're going to have a second A part. And a lot of times, whenever you play through the A part again, it's, of course, the same melody, same chord progression. A lot of times, you'll play it a little different. In Alan's version, he's going to play essentially the same thing over again. So once we learn it through with one A part, you're going to pretty much know it for the second A part too. But it's just good to know that there's some repeating going on, and there's not as much to learn if you want to learn Alan's version as what you might think, at least in the A part. Now, when we go to the B part, little bit of variance there, but what happens when we go to the B part is the chord progression is going to change. That's what happens in Bill Cheatham. That's common in a lot of fiddle tunes. And the melody's going to change too. We're going to go up the neck a little bit. It's going to start there in measure 17 and last for 8 measures. And then we're going to start another B part, same progression, same melody, and it's going to go for another 8 measures as well. And then I've done what I often like to do and given you kind of a standard fiddle tune ending. It's usually 4 measures long. And I always try to make these endings different from just the normal endings that we play. I try to bring in some of the attributes of the fiddle tune into the ending itself, and I think you'll really enjoy that whenever we learn that. Okay, so again, key of A, melodic style. We're capoed up 2, playing out of a G position, and there's a lot of chord changes, a lot of notes to cover, a lot of positions that we're going to need to work on, and we'll talk about that here shortly. Let's learn the A parts to Bill Cheatham. You got your capo on, 2nd fret, and then you're going to tune your 5th string up to an A note. You in tune with me? Close enough. All right, the good news about this A part is that there's not a lot to learn. There's quite a bit of repeating that goes on in there. There's just some tips that I want to give you to help you play it better. And we'll see those. Now, whenever we're starting out, one of the things, before I pull up the tab, one of the things that we're going to do different in this melodic style that we usually don't do over in Scruggs style is play inside rolls. And what I mean by that is using our middle finger on an inside string. Usually, we're used to playing our middle finger on the 1st string. but we're going to pull it inside a lot for this. And melodic playing is just all about getting it done. It's like whatever notes that you want to play, you find a way to play it on the banjo, and that's what makes it a lot of fun. We're also going to use our thumb as much as possible. We're going to drop that thumb down. You'll be able to see the right hand fingerings that I have here. Let's go ahead and pull the tab up and go ahead and notice that beneath each one of the notes, there's a T, 1, and 2. That's your thumb, index, and middle. And the very first notes we play are an inside roll. Then when we go to fret that 7th fret, which is actually the 9th fret, but it's 7 frets up from the capo, remember, I'm going to fret it with my ring finger. And this is part of the strategy to playing this song better and being able to play it faster. Play it with the ring finger here. And then we don't have to pick it up, so just leave it down until we slide it down to the 3rd fret. I'm going to ask you to slide the ring finger down because in measure 3, we're going into a C chord position. And so it's better to have that ring finger playing that 3rd fret than the others, okay? You can try other strategy if you want, but that's what I like. Got that quick hammer on there in measure 3, which is quite handy because it's hard to get to that C chord, so the hammer on almost comes naturally because you're rushing to get there. Then when we jump up in measure 4, we're going to, when I think about melodic playing, I think, okay, we're down here a lot, but we primarily live around the 5th fret. That's where just a lot of the good melodic stuff happens. And I'm going to start it out on the 2nd fret, or on the 2nd string with that middle finger. And then I'm going to drop that middle finger down to the next 5th fret. And then my index finger plays the 4th fret above it. Now that sounds a little weird because that 4th fret's a flat 3, okay, of the chord, and so it's a bit of a blues note. It's kind of gritty. I love it. I love Alan. He plays these really clean melodic pieces, and he'll throw just a little color in there, here and there, just enough. Okay, so let me play this for you slowly. Later on, we'll play the whole thing slow, but just so you can watch what's going on. Go to the next line, we have some repeating already. That next measure 5 is just like measure 1. Leave it down until we go to measure 7. And here in measure 7, if you've ever watched my Intro to Melodics course, we work on this melodic scale. And that's all we're going to do here. We're going to run right up the scale. Notice that I leave my left hand fingers down as long as I can. That's to help with the sustain. As opposed to if I just put my fingers down and pulled them up, listen to the difference. Versus. Okay. So it takes a little practice to be able to leave your fingers down. And it's just going to feel weird if you've never done melodic banjo. It's going to feel weird to make these positions. But one of the things I love about melodic banjo is we're able to get tons of notes out of not having to move our fingers very much. I mean, gosh, we got a lot of stuff. Without having to do a lot of work. And at first it seems like work because you're not used to putting your fingers there. But later on it'll click. And then you'll really enjoy being able to get all those notes out of not having to do a lot. So we don't have a lot of work to do with our left hand, but we do have to be quick in a couple places, don't we? And we've got to leave our fingers down whenever possible to help with that sustain. Okay, now when we get to the second A part of Alan's piece, he doesn't change anything. He plays the exact same thing, except for the last 2 notes in measure 16. He's got a couple pickup notes taking us into that B part. But I could, of course, challenge you to come up with something a little different in the B part. And usually whenever you're playing fiddle tunes, whenever you're playing through that A part or the B part for the second time, you'll change it up a little bit. Alan does it. And I'm not going to complain because Alan's a master. In fact, it reminds me of a great old Alan Munde story. Alan plays the notes that he thinks sounds the best. And he was playing at a festival and he played a fiddle tune. Maybe it was this one. And he played it just like he had performed on a record. Exactly as he had performed it. And so somebody came up to him after the show and said, Alan, you play that song just like you did on the record. Like, wouldn't you want to play a little something different? Wouldn't you want to try to improvise something else? And Alan, of course, could have, but he said, well, the reason why I recorded those notes is because I thought they were the best possible notes to play for that song. That's why I recorded them. And if I thought that they were the best notes to play, why wouldn't I play them again? And that's a little bit of Alan Munde humor in there. You'd have to know him. He's great, but he's right. You know, really good notes. Are there any need to pick any others? I reckon not. Okay, so let's look at the B parts in the next little video segment, and then we'll play the whole thing together slowly here in a bit. The B parts for this Alan Munde version are much more challenging. Okay, there's more challenging positions on our left hand, and a little bit more acrobatic on both hands. And it's going to be key to think about some strategy there. Starting out, nothing too difficult there, except I'll just tell you, whenever I play that second string there in measure 17, I'm dropping down with my thumb to do that. You don't have to do that. You could do it with your index finger. I just find I can play it faster and more even if I drop my thumb down. The next position we have in measure 18, this is a very common melodic position as well. 4, 5, 7. Oh, sorry. It's important to recognize in measure 18 that we don't have to pick up our middle finger. It's on that 5th fret. It stays down. The rest come up. We don't have to move very far. We're going to run up our scale again. So when I play that 5th fret halfway through measure 19, I don't pick that 5th fret up because we're going to play it again at the beginning of measure 20. Okay, so that whole line, very slowly. Say the hardest part for that for me is whenever we get to this position 4, 5, 7 is getting that pinky there on time, because that's kind of a tough position to just grab. So I had to practice that. It's got to get there. So maybe that's the same for you, but you can do it. You just got to work on it. When we go to the next line, there's more repeating, isn't there? The first two measures. Here's a little trick. We're going up to 9 and 10. I'm going to leave my middle finger down on that 5th fret at the end of measure 22, and I'm going to go carry it up to this position. Then I'm going to use my index finger to cover both of the 9th frets. And then I'm going to slide it back down to the 5th fret. So my middle finger stays down for the most part. It might lift a little bit, but for all intents and purposes, we're pretty much going to leave it down. And when you play that fast and you kind of leave it down, it creates this little slide sound. That sounds really cool. I'll see if I can do it. Let me try it again. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. You might not be able to hear it there. I'm thinking about it too much and messing up, but it's there. It creates this legato, smooth sound. That I think really adds to it. It handles communicates some of those overtones. Okay, when we get to the second B part, everything's just the same again, except for one note. And I just want to point it out. I thought it was so brilliant of Alan. I think Alan does this. This might be actually something that I do. But going back to that part where we're jumping up the neck, look there at the line that has measures between 29, 30, 31. Same line in the second B part that we were just playing. But this time when we jump up, it's not 9 and 10. It's 8 and 10. Another little blues note. That I think sounds great. So fun. When you get that down, it's so fun to play. And then we have our ending, which we're going to start out kind of a typical shaving a haircut. And then we're going to do a melodic lick there in measure 33. Nothing that we hadn't seen so far, right? Then we're going to go up the neck, grab that blues note again. So we've already seen those 4 notes before. And then come back down the neck. And we haven't played this in the song, but it's something that could be there. So that position is 4-5-5. And that's the same as an A minor on a guitar, if you want to think about that. Okay, so if you want to think about grabbing an A minor chord right here for a guitar player, that's what it is. I don't know if I'd ever played that before except here. That's not an Alan ending, that's me. Doesn't that sound cool? I think so. Let me play it for you one more time very slowly. Awesome. Okay, let's play the whole thing through. Slowly, from top to bottom. You want to do that? Let's play it all the way through slowly. Don't forget that you can adjust the speed of this video by clicking on the little gear icon. Download the MP3s there at banjobenclark.com, as well as the tabs if you're a Gold Pit member. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, go. Second B part.